they might score 2, we're going to score 4. Let's go and be expansive and try and win it.
All out attack, says Jack. England and Arsenal hero Jack Wilshere is joining me here in the studio, and he reckons a radical reorganisation of Southgate's system, playing Bellingham, Foden, Kane, as well as 2 wingers, is the key this summer. Go for it, blow everyone in the tournament away. Wow, Jack, I love it. Let's look at this formation in a bit more detail and that attacking lineup. So if you talk us through, obviously Pickford,
Yep.
no-brainer.
I think so. I think he's had a good season. I think he's never let England down. I like Ramsdale, played with him at Bournemouth. He's brave as well, similar to Pickford, but I think Pickford's just done enough.
But the back four gets interesting because you're going Trent, you're going Stones, Walker, and then we'll talk about Shaw and Trippier and the difference between the two. But Walker at centre-back.
Yeah, he'll be at the right side of centre-back and Stones on the left. I just think he gives you so much. I think he's learned, his knowledge of the game has improved so much. He can play in that position. Obviously, everyone knows about his biggest strength, his pace, his power to get you out of trouble. And I think somehow to get Trent in the team, I think you have to move him inside, and he's more than good enough to play in that position.
Declan Rice as the holder in midfield, and then Foden and Bellingham ahead of that with 3 more attackers.
Yeah, I think, listen, in the group stages, with teams that I think we should beat, I think we can afford to be a little bit more expansive. Obviously, the tactics would change game to game, depending on who you're playing, the shape of the opposition. But I think in them group stages, let's go, let's be brave, let's take the game to opposition, and let's try and dominate the ball. We've got players in our team that are technically some of the best in the Premier League, and it wasn't that long ago we were saying, oh, England need more Spanish-type players. We haven't got them players who can keep the ball. Well, now we have. So let's try and utilise that and make that one of our biggest strengths, dominate the ball and try and score goals. And
so we're talking Saka to the right, Palmer to the left,
yeah,
and Kane up the middle, make them a little bit more interchangeable as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you have like Saka on the right inverted, I think Palmer's good enough on both feet. He's a dangerous player, and they're all intelligent players who can feed off each other.
And he's been phenomenal form, as you say. But so, Jack, 32 England caps for you. 34. Yeah. Sorry, I got that wrong. That's right. Good. I'm glad you corrected me. That's fantastic. And over 200 top-class games, top-flight games would have been a lot more. Now, we talked about one man in midfield. You played in midfield. Declan Rice is going to play there. Would you fancy playing there on your own in this attacking formation?
I couldn't.
You couldn't have done it?
No, I couldn't. I haven't got the physical capabilities that Deck has. I played with him at West Ham. I see him closely at Arsenal, and he goes from strength to strength, week in, week out. He's been so important for Arsenal. In my opinion, one of the big reasons that we've challenged Man City so closely this season is Deck. And that's just off the ball, like what he brings. On the ball as well, he's technically good. He's good in tight areas, can find the 2 pocket players in Foden and Bellingham, but I couldn't have done that, no.
And he screens the play so well. So he moves across in front of the back four and reads that game so well, and you would have seen that up close in training.
Yeah, I think his understanding, and even since I trained with him at West Ham, his game intelligence has improved so much. He's one of them, he used to do it all the time. He's like, you think, so as a midfielder, you're looking to scan, you're looking for space, and you think you're in space, and you take a touch, and then Deck is there, and he nicks the ball off you, and he can start attacks. Yeah, really intelligent player.
And then obviously you got Trent as the right back, but we've seen a lot of teams do it this season, Arsenal included, of them moving into midfield. So in the way that you'd like to see England play, that would be Trent drifting into midfield.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of talk about whether Trent should play in midfield, and I think he can. He's more than good enough. But I think you lose also a lot of his qualities. I wouldn't say in really wide positions, but sort of that half space where he can pick the ball up, he can switch it. I think we saw a lovely switch of play.
Does it leave us a bit exposed, or is that where Walker's pace comes in?
Yeah, I think so. So if Trent rolls in and he sort of uses the space inside, then Walker's job is to sort of use that outside space a little bit more with Stones in the middle, and then Shaw, Trippier just cover around a little bit to protect us a little bit. But I also think in transition, and I've heard Trent talk about it, what they do at Liverpool is that counter press is so important. Like if you lose the ball, and I've heard Trent say Liverpool actually use it as a tactic where they sometimes give the ball away because then the opposition will open up and they bang and they jump and they're pressing hard.
Most dangerous when you haven't got the ball.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if we've got that base of the three defenders and Deck and Trent sort of supporting them, then we're all good in transition. You know, Walker, as I said before, gives you gives you a lot. There ain't many players, if any, in international or world football that are going to run away from him. So I think we'll be okay in transition.
OK, let's look at how Jack's setup would work. What he means here is that if Trent starts as the right back, that means in possession, he would move into midfield to play alongside Declan Rice, with whoever's at left back forming more of a back three. And that would free up Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham to run riot, with those two wingers as well. And then out of possession, Trent would drop back into a right-back position, Declan Rice is the holder, and meaning Foden and Bellingham have to come in alongside him in more defensive positions. Gareth generally lines up his team in a 4-2-3-1 formation now, after starting his tenure with 3 at the back. Actually, the 3 at the back was more like a 5, with wing-backs who were full-backs. So we've become a little bit more attacking, but it's heavily reliant on Kane and the wingers providing the creativity. The formation previously had been quite rigid, and this means fullbacks playing as fullbacks. There isn't much floating around and interchanging into midfield. And although the wingers come in off their wings, it's generally to enable fullbacks to overlap. So nothing too rogue, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's winning games. We've become a more possession-based team, and now we're a good side. Opposition teams will sit deep against us, as we saw against Iceland and Bosnia in the warm-up games. It means Declan Rice and the 2 centre-backs will get lots of the ball and rely on a huge amount of movement ahead of them. England have reached 2 semi-finals and a final under Southgate, so let's not downplay his tactical nous, but it's how the 3 Lions can adapt in-game that's going to be key.
So Gareth Southgate, we've seen, loves possession football, but this year we've definitely seen Phil Foden central for an unbelievable Man City team, Jude Bellingham central for an unbelievable Real Madrid team. How do we get them both in the same team? Are we talking a little bit here about a Gerrard and Lampard situation where, I mean, we played Paul Scholes on the left wing for crying out loud in those teams. How can we sort out getting those 2 together? Are they going to get each other's way?
First of all, I think it's a little bit different because with Lampard and Gerrard, I mean, I think there was a solution to getting both in the team, but you could see both right-footed, both very similar in terms of what they bring to the team. Maybe Gerrard could have played a little bit more defensively, but with this time around, I think, you know, Foden left-footed, Bellingham right-footed. I think that's why we have to play with 2 attacking midfielders. Listen, you could easily play Foden on the left, take Palmer out and bring another midfielder in. But I think you're losing Foden's main strength. Like you said, he's played central. I think naturally Bellingham will play closer to Kane, and I think that will benefit us as well. You know, sometimes Kane likes to drop in. If we have the runs that Bellingham's been making from Madrid from behind and Trent on the ball trying to find him, I think we can get a lot of success from that. I don't think they'll get in their way. Maybe if Bellingham plays a little bit closer, Foden might play a little bit lower, which may allow then Trent to move up into them half positions where he can make them sort of
so it's sort of more 2 8/10s as opposed to 2 10s.
I like to call them pocket players because they're just in them little pockets and they're trying to find the space. And I think if we can use that, and listen, I think Foden is different to Bellingham because Foden's more, he likes to attract players and play around the corner, link play, whereas Bellingham can do that, but he can also give you that threat behind. So I think we should be so excited as a nation for these 2 players. And then, as we said, we spoke about Dec before, the security he brings. I think it's a lovely blend in midfield, and we should really try and benefit from that.
So as we've said, though, Southgate probably won't play just one. So if you have to leave out one of those players, you're not going to leave out Foden or Bellingham, are you? So is that where, and I'm not sure you're going to leave out Bukayo Saka either, are you? So is that where Palmer is probably going to miss out?
I think so, but I think it's hard. I think, yeah, that would probably be the answer, but then I think you lose. Listen, Foden's played there before and he's intelligent enough to come inside and find the space. If that is the case, then in my opinion, you need a left-footed fullback who's going to get around the outside to give Foden a little bit more space or get in if he's free. So I think we have to play that way. I think we have to get our best players in the team. We have to trust that we're going to counter-press. We have to trust that we can be compact, be narrow defensively and not get exposed that way. And let's focus on attack. Yes, of course, when you play football, you have to defend as well. But our main strength, and in my opinion, how we're going to win games and potentially win a tournament is by our attacking threat. We're not going to be that team that just sit off and narrow and hard to beat and hit teams on the counter. We have to play. We have to be expansive, and it's that risk versus reward.
And we've got the players to do that now. So that's great. So let's take a look at the average positions that these guys pick up, Foden and Bellingham, where their goals come from and where those assists come from as well when they're feeding the likes of Harry Kane. Foden and Bellingham. What a lovely problem to have. Pure class, both of them. Champions League superstars and now ready to do it on an international stage. And we shouldn't worry too much about playing them together as they do differing roles. Bellingham first. He has two styles to his game. One is picking up the ball deep and surging into space. For Real Madrid, he trusts the defenders, and Toni Kroos, to have the ball, and he doesn't then track back. When there's a turnover, away he goes. The second part is his brilliance running off the ball. Now, England missed this in the warm-up games. He goes beyond the ball, which is a hugely underrated quality. And when Kane drops deep, it will be Bellingham who gets into the box to get on the end of crosses and drag defenders into places they don't want to be. The timing of his runs is exquisite. And when we're looking for that game-changing moment, it will be Bellingham who provides it. And now Foden. Don't worry, they aren't going to get in each other's way. Foden wants the ball to feet in tight spaces so he can spin and play give and goes off Kane and the wingers. Their roles will dovetail with each other in different areas of the field. The only shame is that Bellingham and Foden couldn't play both the warm-up games together to improve their understanding of each other. But they'll be doing that every day in training. You can see from his touch maps that Foden, from previous years of being a wide player, now relishes the number 10 role, powering in from picking the ball up on the corner of the area to assist and score goals. The goal England will hopefully score during this tournament will be from a Bellingham pass from deep to Foden, Foden with a 1-2 with a fullback or another forward, and then cut back to Bellingham, who has continued his run and surged into the box. Sounds simple, but very difficult to stop when executed correctly. We've mentioned Palmer and Saka. Let's talk about Saka. I mean, you'll have seen him a lot. You'll have seen him when he was slightly younger and what he's like now. What a player he's turned into. We've talked about this before, about his 1-2s, virtually unstoppable when he plays a 1-2 like that. But you've seen him up close. What's he like, training ground and as a character?
As a character, he's one of the nicest people that I've met in the game. He's so humble. He's always got time for the academy. Of course, he came through the academy.
But he's a hard worker. He's always working on those things.
He's there first. He leaves last. He understands what it takes, and I think you're seeing the rewards. I think the big thing for me with Bukayo that stands out, and it always did as a young player, even when I wasn't at the club and I was watching him, he always makes the right decision. Whether you, like you said, it's a 1-2, whether it's a simple pass to your fullback getting around the outside, whether it's to dribble in and shoot. Like, you rarely see him either make a wrong decision or try and be selfish. He's very much a team player.
And with Palmer and Saka in those wide positions, is it going to change Kane's role slightly? When we look back to the World Cup and the Euros before it, we saw Kane almost quarterback style dropping in, and that was with Sterling and Rashford, obviously the bombers going forward past him. This time you've got players looking for ball to feet, and as we mentioned, that Saka 1-2 there as well.
Yeah, I think Kane is probably our most intelligent player. So I always thought this with Kane, and I always heard people say maybe he's dropping too deep, but I think he really understands what the game needs. So he'll work that out for himself. I think he'll understand that sometimes if Bukayo's coming inside, he needs that little option for a 1-2. I think he can spend more time in the box because we're going to have players in wide areas that can link with the two pocket players we spoke about, and we need someone in the box, and who better to have in the box than someone like Harry Kane.
And he can score with both feet. He scores from pullbacks, he scores from headers and everything like that as well. So maybe we're actually freeing Harry Kane up a little bit more by playing these players in that position as well.
Yeah, I think if you asked him what's the most enjoyable England team he's played in, he'll say this team, because like you said, it allows him to not focus on what he's good at, because I thought he was good at his timing at dropping in, and he's got a wonderful range of passing, which he can do. But like you said, he can finish left foot, right foot, head in. He understands the space in the box. He understands where to attack. And it does, I agree with you, it frees him up.
And if we have Kane having a great tournament, then surely England are going to go deep.
You'd like to think so. Him and Foden and Bellingham, like I think them three centrally linking up, maybe Kane dropping in, someone running behind and Foden on the ball, sliding little passes to either them two. But I think I agree with you, and I heard Rooney speak recently about Harry Kane, and some player like to keep going. What he's done at Bayern, you know, people said, oh, maybe he couldn't do it at another club because Tottenham was his club. But he's been exceptional and he's getting better and better. And hopefully, for England's sake, this is his tournament. I think he's had good tournaments, but I think we're yet to see like a real Harry Kane arrive at a major tournament.
With all the chat about Foden and Jude, Kane is still England's main man and key player. If Kane fires, England will go deep. But his role is perhaps not quite as deep as before. In Qatar, and certainly at the last home Euros, Kane's dropping into midfield was a plan, as much as it infuriated many. It was because we had the flyers going past him in Sterling and Rashford. Remember them? Those guys, class players in their own right, wanted counter-attacks and balls in behind, which Kane provided. But this is New England, where we've progressed as a team and have a huge amount of attacking talent. I mean, which other country can leave out those two, plus Maddison and Grealish? The wide men are more ball players, are ballers, so Kane can go back to being a more traditional number 9, a hold-up man and someone who's there to get on the end of things in the box. We might see a bit less of him in open play, but as long as he sticks it in the net, who cares? In this setup, I prefer Saka here over Cole Palmer, mainly because he holds the width, and that's going to be key in not congesting those areas in the middle of the park. Leave that space for Foden, Bellingham and Kane. Playing Trent in midfield, my pick, if England do play 2 in there, means Kane can play off the back of the last defender more, and look for Trent chipping that ball diagonally into the area between the edge of the box and the keeper. Trent can do that, and Kane will score.
So, England all the way, Jack. Have we got anything that worries us? And is there anybody who can stop us?
I think we can go all the way. I think we showed that at the home Euros. You know, obviously we lost in the final. We didn't go all the way, but we were there. I think we've grown since then. I think we've got better as a team. I think we've added better players as well. I think our style has improved as well, as you spoke about being more possession-based now. I think we can be a little bit more expansive. That's what worries me, that we won't do that. And listen, we might not do that and we still might go all the way. We have the quality in the group to do that. But I think it gives us more of a chance. Who can stop us? France is strong. Germany being a home nation, Tony Kroos on his last...
that'd be another fairy tale.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we're better than them.
And we've got so much attacking strength from the bench now as well. I mean, we look at the fact that we've left out Rashford, we've left out Maddison, and we've still got an absolute embarrassment of riches that we can bring on. So hopefully we won't be waiting for the 70th minute if the breakthrough hasn't come, because we've got that attacking talent. Yeah,
exactly. But even if we do, like you said, we've got so much on the bench, so much we can do as well. I think in terms of even the players on the pitch, you could change the structure. You could even move Jude more closer to Harry and play almost like as a 2, and they can play off each other. So yeah, I mean, maybe you would say if Harry's not firing but he's in good form, that do we have that world-class striker to replace him? Watkins has been brilliant this season, but he's never really been exposed to a major tournament, never really been exposed to top European football. So listen, I might be wrong and he might prove me wrong.
But Harry's not going to come off, is he? As long as we're going well, Harry's not
as long
as
we're not going well. I know he had a back injury.
Boot.
Yeah, he had a back injury as well. And listen, I think he'll be fine. I think he's managed himself really well. Missed the last 2 games for Munich this season. So let's hope he's fit, he's firing, and he starts well. I think it's important for a striker. First game, 1 goal, maybe 2 goals, and let's go from there.
So England go all the way. Harry Kane, Golden Boot. Who's player of the tournament?
Either Foden for me. I think Bellingham could be, but I think Foden's in a little bit of a better position. And maybe one surprise, maybe Palmer. He surprised us all this year with the goals and the assists he's got. And my mate Deck as well. I think he's really taking his game to another level. I know everyone's talking about Tony Kroos and And listen, I'm not saying Deck is there at that level yet, but he's close. He's not far behind. And
you lift that tournament, that trophy at the end of the tournament, and then you're into that.
Yeah, you spoke about in
absolutely.
the same bracket. So I got my fingers crossed that he can have a good tournament and really dominate. But player of the tournament, I'm going Foden.
And then we've got a couple of players there with their eye on the Ballon d'Or. And if Foden gets player of the tournament, England win it. Jude Bellingham already with that Champions League medal around his neck. Are we going to concede too many goals for Jordan Pickford to be in the reckoning for Golden Glove, or are we just going to have so much of the ball that we won't concede?
Yeah, I think we'll be all right in the group stages. If we can keep some clean sheets, that puts him in a good position, because once you go into the knockouts, you probably wouldn't be as expansive. Maybe you would if it's worked for you, and you could have that mentality. All right, they might score 2, we're going to score 4, which I think we've got the quality to do. It's dangerous mentality because the goalie might have a really good game, but let's go and be expansive and try and win it.
So Gareth, let's take the parachute off. Get the ballers playing ball, Rice on his own in midfield, 5 attackers, go for it. And Kane will be lifting that Euros trophy on German soil. Is it coming home, Jack?
It's coming home.
It's coming home.